Thank you. Parliament is resumed. Continue. Let me invite the Honourable MP for Whiteout Islands and Minister for Environment. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for giving the opportunity for member of Whiteout Island to speak and to contribute on this bill. I'm speaking on behalf of the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, Disaster and Meteorology. We strongly support the new Public Service Bill 2025. This bill is a very important reform. It will replace the old outdated Public Service Act from 1998. I think the goal is to create a modern, efficient and accountable government workforce that can deliver on our country development and climate goals. I would like to begin by acknowledging the Honourable Minister and dedicated officials from the Ministry of Public Service for their tireless work in putting together this important bill. I also extend my sincere thanks to the Bill and Legislation Committee for their thorough scrutiny and valuable contribution to refining the legislation. Here is why we believe this bill should be passed. First, it helps our work on climate and environment. As a strong and professional government is essential for managing our environment. This bill will ensure that we have the most qualified people and manage their performance well. This means that staff working on climate, environment, and disaster will be skilled, honest, and responsible. Second, it makes government agencies work better together. The bill promotes transparency, accountability across all ministries. This is crucial for environmental work, which requires different ministries to cooperate. A better coordinated government will help us implement our national policy on climate change, disaster risk, and environment more effectively. The third, it trains our staff to be experts. The bill will create a public service college. This college will provide much needed training for our technical staff in specialized areas like climate science, environmental law, and disaster response. Investing in our people ensure we have the experts needed to do our job. Fourth, it promotes honesty and good ethics. Managing the environment requires not just skills, but also strong ethics. This bill strengthens rules to prevent misconduct and corruption. This will lead to better decisions about our natural resources and help the public trust the government to protect our environment. Fifth, it fits with our other laws. The new bill works well with our Constitution and other existing laws, including those for the environment and disaster management. It creates no conflicts and actually makes it clearer how different ministries should work together. Six, it helps us manage climate funds well. The bill improves workforce planning and coordination between ministries. This will help my ministry better manage large, complex funding from international donors like the Green Climate Fund. A performance-driven public service will ensure that money for climate and disaster program is used transparently and effectively. The last one, it makes us faster in our disaster. By modernizing our human resources systems, like using digital records, this bill will help us mobilize staff quickly during national emergencies. This means we can have trained, accountable officers ready to help when a disaster strikes. Overall, why this bill is so important? The Public Service Bill is not just a simple administrative change. It is a major transformation of how our government works. It creates the right conditions for all ministries, including mine, to do their job effectively. For my ministry, a reformed public service means we will have a more capable and ethical team ready to tackle climate change, protect our nature, respond to disaster, and manage our environmental sustainably. This bill supports transparency, accountability, and performance, which are the foundation of good environmental governance. To conclude, passing this bill will renew the pride and the spirit of public service across the government. For my ministry, it will empower our officers to serve with professionalism and integrity as they work on important national and global environmental commitments. Therefore, I strongly support the Public Service Bill 2025. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Member for Batu, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to speak and contribute to this important Public Service Bill 2025 debate. I take this opportunity to thank and congratulate the Minister for Public Service for the tabling for second reading of the Public Service Bill 2025 earlier this week. As one of only a very handful of women currently in Parliament in the country and in the history of Solomon Islands, I would like to sincerely commend the intention of the bill to ensure a public service that has integrity, is transparent and accountable, and is high performing. This reform is crucial given the ongoing gender inequalities and disadvantages that certain groups, particularly women, continue to experience in our country. Current public service workforce data indicates that approximately 68% are men and only 32% are women, revealing that leadership and decision-making roles in the public service do not reflect the broader demographics of the Solomon Islands. Men hold over 80% of positions such as permanent secretaries, deputy secretaries, directors, and financial controllers, as well as 58% of human resources managers' roles. Furthermore, most women deputy secretaries are most of women deputy secretaries are playing in corporate or administrative areas, while men dominate technical roles. Similarly, men continue to occupy the majority of director positions with legislative authority. Say, within a public service, there are employees who experience challenges related to vision, hearing, mobility, and cognition. However, there is currently no support service framework in place to provide mechanisms that would enable persons with disabilities and those with impairments to engage meaningfully and perform their duties effectively. Mr. Speaker, sexual harassment is a serious human rights violence in the public service confirmed by the recent study of the Ministry of Public Service. And of great concern is the lack of protection mechanisms that ensure employees' safety and confidence to report such cases. Say, the bill's clear principles are transparency, accountability, fairness, equality, and employee rights are commendable. I particularly acknowledge the equality of employment opportunity principle, which promotes fair competition, eliminates discrimination, and encourages diversity reflective of our nation. The human rights management principles, which ensures fair, safe, and inclusive workplace and participatory decision-making, is also notable. I further welcome the provision that defines sexual harassment of an offense. Say, the significance of these provisions in the bill for women, those with disabilities, and those most vulnerable in the public service in terms of their empowerment, safety, and protection cannot be overemphasized. A legal framework that ensures a diverse and inclusive workforce that can better serve a diverse public, leading to improved decision-making, increased efficiency, and greater public trust, is aligned to our commitments to all of our citizens, especially those most vulnerable. To conclude, say once again, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of my constituency, Te Motuatu, and myself, we sincerely thank you for the opportunity to share this discussion today and convey our support to the passage of the Public Service Bill. With these few remarks, I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Any other members who wish to contribute on the motion? Thank you, Honourable Minister for Provincial Government and Institutional Strengthening. Have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Speaker, sir, for allowing the Minister responsible for provincial governments and institutional strengthening, and of course the member for Ranong Gasindo to contribute to the Public Service Bill 2025. Sir, before I proceed further to make brief comments on the bill, allow me to thank the Bills and Legislation Committee for their excellent work in preparing the report of this bill, which eventually appeared before this Honourable House. So I also join other members of Parliament in acknowledging the officials, the permanent secretaries, deputy secretaries, who are both present and past, who have contributed and worked on this bill. So I recognize that policy reforms related to a bill have no easy something here. But because of the hard work of everyone, the Ministry, the Bills and Legislative Committee, you may carry this bill before this Honourable House. Sir, the Public Service Bill that is before us revitalizes and enlightens the public service in Solomon Islands. I say this because it is comprehensive in the institutions it establishes through the operation of the law and the principles underpinning the bill. In terms of the structure and content, I'd say it is miles away from the old Public Service Act of 1988. The new Public Service Bill, sir, provides for an independent, high-performance public service, a legal framework for organizational structure and remuneration. The bill goes as far as to promote accountability and transparency in public service governance. Sir, the bill further clearly articulates the responsibilities of various key or fundamental institutions from the public service standpoint, such as the Minister, the Commission, the Permanent Secretary, and related public service institutions. So the bill goes on to define the rights and obligations of public servants. Along with this, the bill stipulates the mechanisms and principles that underpin uniform employment and management practices, which must be characterized by principles embracing merit, fairness, and equality of employment. Alongside this value-based context, sir, there is a need for the bill to embrace the value of trusteeship. This is crucial as it helps protect public servants in relation to their engagement, particularly concerning governance of service delivery. Sir, generally, the objectives of the bill align with its substantive clauses. In other words, there is a significant consistency between the bill's objectives and its substantive clauses. I'd say this is a strength of this bill. Sir, the Bills and Legislation Committee has made significant recommendations that require the attention of the Ministry of Public Service. The Bills and Legislation Committee suggestions offer insightful ways to strengthen the public service framework. These recommendations have the potential to galvanize and strengthen this bill. In that regard, considering the recommendations from the Bills and Legislation Committee, I agree with recommendation 4, which emphasizes the importance of the bill being consistent with established practice and the Provincial Government Act of 1997 by empowering the Provincial Secretary instead of the Clerk of the Assembly in relation to functions as provided for by this bill under Clause 9, subsection 6 of the bill. Sir, to conclude, let me re-emphasize. The bill epitomizes the public service structure from a simple framework to one that is more structured, rooted, and clear in terms of administrative line of command as far as the powers of institutions established by the bill are concerned. What this means is that it modernizes the public service machinery to deliver services more effectively. It provides some clarity in terms of powers of the key institutions central to administration and fixes certain anomalies which characterize the former Public Service Act of 1988. Sir, with these few words, I support the motion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Any other members? Thank you. Honourable MP for Te Motunende, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for recognizing Member of Parliament representing the people of Te Motunende constituency, where the sun rises and Solomon time begins, to contribute briefly to Public Service Bill 2025. Firstly, I wish to acknowledge the Minister of Public Service for tabling the Public Service Bill 2025. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to thank the senior management team of the Ministry of Public Service for your commitment and dedication rendered in preparing the bill. Mr. Speaker, I would also like to acknowledge the Bills and Legislative Committee for scrutinizing the bill. Mr. Speaker, the bill, or the Public Service Bill 2025 is a significant bill because the current act is outdated, as it can't accommodate or handle some of the current practices. Mr. Speaker, for instance, some of the current practices of or by public servants are seen as unethical. Some may be seen some of the practices may be seen as not acceptable to the public. Other practices may not be relevant, or the services provided by the public service to the public are not acceptable, or even the services offered are not on time. Service offered might have financial strings attached to, and so on, Mr. Speaker. Before going further, I would also like all of us to reflect on the services and public offices of 1978 to year 2000. Mr. Speaker, think of the services they offered, their dress code, competency, the work performance, and even time management. Mr. Speaker, think of the discipline, promotions, and then see, or you can also reflect on the current generation of public service, occupying public offices in Honiara, the provinces, or some are posted in the villages and islands, and think of the services offered by those servants in the public offices. Mr. Speaker, think of how, why, and whom, what they offer. Then we try to forecast or predict what would the next generation of public servants and the services they will provide be in the next 10 to 20 years. I am optimistic that this important bill comes at the right time and to address what we are trying to focus on and what we are currently facing. I am so thankful that the Public Service Bill 2025 is tabled, but I will be more delightful, Mr. Speaker, if this bill comes with relevant regulations that will help us to make reference to during the Committee of Supply. Mr. Speaker, sir, hence a bill to me that is tabled in Parliament without regulation is like a person buying a pencil without a sharpener, or even an eraser. For that matter, I think it is incomplete. Mr. Speaker, from the 7 purposes of this Act, I will talk briefly on 3 purposes. One is transparency and accountability in the public service. Mr. Speaker, I am hoping that with the purpose of transparency, government operations, decision-making, and resource management will be known to the public. Mr. Speaker, the public and stakeholders will be allowed to access information about how public services are delivered and how decisions are made. Mr. Speaker, accountability to me may mean that public offices or officers and institutions are responsible for their actions and decisions. They must be answerable to the public and oversight bodies, and they will be held responsible for their performance and conduct. For instance, Mr. Speaker, elected leaders and public servants have different responsibilities in the governance. Transparency and accountability prevents collusion among elected leaders and public servants in the areas of tender processes or awarding of tenders, even employment or scholarships and so on. Therefore, to me, transparency and accountability help reduce corruption, Mr. Speaker, but promote trust in government and ensure that public resources are used effectively and ethically. Number two, Mr. Speaker, sir, is modernization of public service. As the country is predicting what the future be in terms of public service delivery, modernization of public service becomes imminent. Mr. Speaker, for instance, having the new bill improves legal framework that guide how services will be delivered. New systems with new technologies will also help to make services more efficient, responsive, and capable of meeting contemporary challenges as we head on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, public servants with integrity is of paramount importance so that ethical principles such as honesty and moral uprightness are seen in public service. Mr. Speaker, it ensures that government employees serve with integrity, respect, and dedication, thereby enhancing public trust and confidence in the government services. On the other hand, Mr. Speaker, the principles of merit is extremely important, so that appointments, promotions, and rewards should be based on ability, performance, and qualifications, rather than favoritism or even political influence. Mr. Speaker, the principle of merit requires legal framework. Therefore, it focuses on establishing clear laws and regulations that govern the operation of the public service, Mr. Speaker. It also includes settling fair remunerations, packages, defining their organizational structures, and provide legal guidelines to ensure the public service functions effectively and consistently. Having worked in the provinces for more than about 9 years, I have seen, and I believe that decentralizing disciplinary committee to the provinces should be taken on board. There are public servants right in the provinces that are abusing some of their powers. They even abuse using government vehicles, or the darangai site, or the hiring, or the kind of things also. Therefore, modernization aims to build a professional, ethical, and capable public service that functions transparently and effectively. Lastly, but not the least, is administration and management of public service. Mr. Speaker, sir, this involves the organization of structures, systems, and policies, and processes used to plan, direct, coordinate, and control public sector activities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hope this bill will address some administration challenges that public servants meet in the daily service delivery. Mr. Speaker, it ensures that government policies are implemented effectively and efficiently, and resources are allocated properly. Good management that includes strategic planning, human resource management, and even financial control. Therefore, the goal to ensure that public service operates smoothly, delivers quality services, and achieves government objectives efficiently and responsibly. With these few remarks, I support the motion and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member for Nende. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Member for West Guadalcanal Health. Floor, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for granting me this opportunity to rise and add the voice of the people of West Guadalcanal constituency to this important debate. Before I reflect on the bill, allow me to sincerely thank my people of West Guadalcanal for the trust they have placed in me to represent them in this honorable house. Whether you voted me or not, you placed me to represent them in this honorable house. Whether you voted me or not, I remain your honorable member, and I carry that responsibility with humility and pride. Mr. Speaker, it is customary in our land that women hold a rightful place in society. Guadalcanal, and West Guadalcanal in particular, is rooted in a matrilineal society system. As a proud Gwale woman, I stand here not only as a representative of my constituency, but as a voice for the women of Guadalcanal whose strength, wisdom, and resilience continue to shape our communities. Sir, I wish to commend the Minister of Public Service for bringing forward the Public Service Bill 2025. This is a timely and transformative piece of legislation. As someone who has served in the public service, I speak from experience when I say this bill addresses long-standing gaps and introduces much-needed reforms. Mr. Speaker, this bill introduces a robust performance management framework, a system that will ensure accountability, transparency, and merit-based progression within our public institutions. It establishes professional standards and a dedicated professional standard unit which will help restore public confidence in the integrity of our service. Moreover, the bill prioritizes workforce development and training. It provides a structured approach to identifying skills, gaps, building capacity, and nurturing future leaders within the public sector. This is not just about efficiency. It is about empowering our people to serve with excellence. Mr. Speaker, I believe this bill lays the foundation for a modern, responsive, and people-centered public service. It aligns with our national vision for good governance and sustainable development. But more importantly, it reflects our collective aspiration for a public service that is fair, inclusive, and accountable to the people it serves. Mr. Speaker, as a former public servant, I have witnessed these shortfalls within the organization, which now I believe can be addressed through this upgraded piece of legislation. In closing, I reaffirm my support for this bill, not only as a legislator, but as a daughter of West Guadalcanal, a former public servant, and a woman committed to the progress of our nation. Thank you, Gina. Tagio Tumas. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill and I resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member for West Guadalcanal. Thank you. Let me give the floor to the Honourable Minister for Culture and Tourism and MP for Gala. You have the floor, Madam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the debate on this very important bill, the Public Service Bill 2025. At the outset, I wish to begin by sincerely thanking the Minister for the Public Service and his ministry staff for their tireless work in developing and presenting this bill to Parliament. This is a major piece of legislation that has taken a lot of effort, time, and dedication, and I commend them to their vision and determination to modernize our public service. I also wish to acknowledge the Bills and Legislation Committee for the tremendous effort undertaken in scrutinizing this bill and for producing a comprehensive report with valuable recommendations. I particularly commend the committee for the approach adopted to gather the views of the public by inviting various stakeholders to present their perspectives during the consultations. Through this inclusive approach, the committee was able to capture a wide range of opinions and ensure that the bill is robust, well-informed, and reflective of the needs of our people. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other colleagues have rightly stated this bill is a milestone reform. It is crucial in modernizing the governance and administration of our public service to meet the evolving demands of our time. The bill will strengthen the institutional framework and create a more accountable, transparent, and performance-driven public service. It will also establish mechanisms to enhance efficiency, merit-based recruitment and promotion, and ensure that public servants deliver services in a timely and professional manner, as expected by our citizens. Over time, Mr. Speaker, sir, without reforms, the culture of the public service can become stale and unresponsive. I believe that has been the case in the Solomon Islands. Many of the challenges we face today, from inefficiency to poor service delivery, stem from outdated systems and practices that have not kept pace with modern realities. Therefore, this bill is both timely and necessary to rejuvenate and transform our public service into one that is responsive, innovative, and committed to serving our people. One area I wish to particularly highlight, Mr. Speaker, sir, is customer service. Too often, our public servants are criticized for poor customer service, for not treating clients, visitors, or members of the public with courtesy and respect. This must change. The public service must remember that we are here to serve the people. Every interaction between a public officer and a member of public reflects the face of government. Therefore, good customer service must become an essential part of our work culture, built on respect, empathy, and professionalism. Another important issue, Mr. Speaker, sir, is how our culture obligations. Cultural obligations sometimes affect work ethics within the public service. We all value our culture. It defines who we are as Solomon Islanders. However, when cultural obligations interfere with the performance of duties, for example, absenteeism due to prolonged social or cultural engagements, it affects productivity and undermines the efficiency of the public service. This bill, through clear codes of conduct and accountability mechanisms, will help to strike a balance, respecting our culture, but also ensuring that public servants uphold their professional duties and responsibilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, beyond this bill also reinforces the principles of professionalism, good governance, ethical leadership, and honesty within the public service. It emphasizes merit-based employment, integrity in decision-making, and accountability for results. These are the hallmarks of a modern, effective, and trusted public service. one that delivers for the people and upholds the values of transparency and fairness. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to express my strong support to the Public Service Bill 2025. It represents a bold and necessary step forward in transforming our public service into one that is more dynamic, professional, and truly dedicated to serving our nation. I believe this bill will lay the foundation of a renewed public service culture, one built on excellence, integrity, and service to the people of Solomon Islands. I also want to thank all the public service for their tireless work in their ministries. Thank you too much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I will resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Member and Honourable Minister. Thank you. If there are no other who's to take to the floor, I'll now call on the Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute briefly to the debate on this important bill. At the outset, let me join colleagues from both sides of the House who have contributed to the debate on this bill, and to thank and congratulate the Honourable Minister for Public Service and the MP for North West Korokanal, his Permanent Secretary and the team, the AG chambers and other stakeholders for their tireless efforts and commitment to prepare and bring this bill to Parliament, of course building on previous work that has been done on this matter. Also allow me, Speaker, to thank the Chairman and members of the Bills and Legislation Committee for their comprehensive report, which is of great assistance to our deliberations on this important bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, the legislative agenda of the government is anchored in the 4 policy pillars of GNAT policy statement. And these are unity and stability, economic transformation, infrastructure development, and human capital development. To date, we have seen the passage of the National Building Code or Standards Act aligned with the Infrastructure Development Pillar, and the Special Economic Zone Act, which supports the Economic Transformation Pillar. This Public Service Bill, Mr. Speaker, is a key legislative instrument under the Human Capital Development Pillar, reflecting our commitment to strengthening the capacity, professionalism, and integrity of our public service, as we have heard from speakers during the past 2 days, including today. In particular, this bill sets the basis for the implementation of the 9 policy statements of GNAT under the Ministry of Public Service. This bill, sir, is also critical to advance the government's priorities in the other 3 pillars of economic transformation, infrastructure development, and unity and stability, because the bill addresses the workforce, the hands, legs, and eyes, and institutional functions that will lead and support implementation of any government policy, including the transformation agenda of GNAT. So the existing Public Service Act, as we have heard, CAP 92, enacted some 36 years ago, is limited in scope and does not reflect the contemporary realities of public administration. CAP 92 lacks clarity of roles, consistency in human resource management, and adequate systems of accountability. Consequently, the bill before us is timely and responds to the challenges that members have elaborated on, and as we have heard during this debate. Mr. Speaker, sir, the policy objectives of the bill as outlined by the Minister of Public Service are clear and seek to A, promote a professional and responsive public service,
B, provide a clear and comprehensive legal framework. C, strengthen accountability and transparency. D, clearly define roles and responsibilities of key office holders. E, outline the rights and obligations of all public officers. F, promote uniform employment and management practices. And G, create a platform for continuous improvement and innovation. In this connection, sir, I can attest with confidence that the objectives are sound, internally consistent with each other, and will strengthen and improve our public service. I believe this is an outcome all of us in this August House support and is expected by our public. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Bills and Legislation Committee report made 67 recommendations on the bill. About 10 of the recommendations were for new clauses or policy suggestions. 57 recommendations were based on the clauses of the bill. As highlighted by the Minister of Public Service, we will look at these recommendations during the committee stage of our deliberations next week, and where possible, we'll accommodate or take on board as corrigendum and using Standing Order 51 to accommodate some of these recommendations. My cursory inspection of the accepted recommendations emphasized legal clarity, ethical governance, and institutional accountability across Solomon Islands Public Service. Once again, I thank the Chairman and members of the Bills and Legislation Committee for the recommendations. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, the Public Service Bill 2025 represents a bold and necessary step toward modernizing and reforming our public service. It reflects our collective commitment to building a responsive, ethical, and accountable public service, one that is equipped to meet the demands of today and the aspirations of tomorrow. The incorporation of some of the key recommendations from the Bills and Legislation Committee further enhances the bill's integrity and relevance. I therefore once again commend the Minister for Public Service, Permanent Secretary, and all those who have contributed to this important legislative milestone. I urge all honourable members to lend their support to the bill so that together we may lay a stronger foundation for a public service that truly serves Solomon Islands with professionalism, fairness, and wisdom. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure the Honourable Minister will respond to colleagues who have taken the floor, and most of whom have spoken, all of whom have spoken in support of this important piece of legislation. But as Prime Minister, I would like to take the opportunity to thank all colleagues from both sides of the House for the very important debate that we have on this important piece of legislation. With these short remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion and resume my seat.
Thank you, Honourable Prime Minister. And with that, I will now call on the Minister to deliver his speech in reply. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, me like to say thank you to local every colleague, members who for contribute towards the debate. But before me come for acknowledge him, you follow a lot of contributions or the comments, recommendations, and suggestions. Me also like for stating here that as a member of North New Zealand mentioned him, this bill came a long way. And look, I said, we come through 6 full leadership of government with 6 full prime ministers and 6 full ministers too. Which of me indicating that this fella policy, the realization of the need to improve our public service is not something that him new. And that process where we come through, I'm really indicating that The need was there. Unfortunately, over the years, I think the priorities in me shifted a little bit, but there was a technical task force that will continue with the leadership of some of the ministers for making sure that this bill had come to this stage. And initially, according to some of the former ministers, bill used to be 1,000 pages here. And then they were drawn down to 600 pages until it comes to refine to where it is today. But the importance of that process, if we cannot undermine me, really important, because if we want to have a bill that come in and be relevant for our challenges that we got in today. So the need to improve the public service, as I mentioned, has came a long way, and it was through the realization that we come up with a policy that leads to this bill. And with that, I'd like for sincerely acknowledging the people who actually work on this over the years. And there was a lot of work that has been done for making sure that this bill has come in. And I'd like to specifically mention or indicate later that this fellow, me like for acknowledging all the previous prime ministers, the public service ministers, the PSs and the technical task force, the Ministry of Public Service, the AG chambers, and also like to say thank you to the Bills and Legislation Committee, where look through this bill and I will come up with those main recommendations as Honourable Prime Minister mentioned him, and I will address those recommendations next week during our committee stage. I also like to say thank you to the various ministries that are contribute towards the work of this fellow bill. Moving further, thank you to all the honourable members of this House for your observations, your comments, suggestions and recommendations. Many of these recommendations we take note of them, and by me addressing along committee stage. These recommendations and suggestions have been continued for improving the integrity and the relevance of this full bill. These are important observations that if our colleague will come up with them. And through the contribution of some of our colleagues here, this bill has come through a lot of the transition from where we were back before during the first act here, and how we manage the public service companies today. And I remember this discussion from our honourable member for Senator Honera. Public service have got a bottleneck, and that's very true. So this bill I'm here for try and bridge more the gaps that we got in public service over the years. This bill has asked me, if I also share them, by modernizing the governance, integrity and performance of the public service. The reform that he may like him, this bill for achieving, having for strengthening, not only strengthening the institutional framework that have governed administration and management of public service. This bill, I'm actually here for support him. Also for look after more public servants. The bill I'm setting a framework for adopting the best practice in public sector management. And with the changing time and changing demand that we got him, this bill has really come at the right time, as many of your colleagues, if I reiterate him. And this is important, that we must always keep up to time. Time has changed, and the fast pace of changing time this time and requiring we must also make sure that the legal framework that we got him have reviewed, and we must be able for addressing more the ongoing challenges. I'm sure this for the bill, once we get him through this parliament, by me also achieving what the key policy objectives were the bill had me entailing. And I thank you, honourable colleagues, for your support on this bill. And I'm sure our public servants out there are listening out, because this bill sets the platform for more reform in the public service. which many of our public servants have been waiting for so long. And with your support, I'm sure this bill will go through next week, and you may transform our public service into a new, vibrant public service in the future. So by taking me into the next couple of years. Mr. Speaker, with those remarks, I beg to move that the Public Service Bill 2025 be now read a second time.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable members, I will put a question. The question is that the Public Service Bill 2025 be now read a second time. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The Public Service Bill 2025 has therefore been read a second time and stands committed to the Committee of the Whole House. Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that Parliament do now adjourn.
Thank you, honourable members. The question is that Parliament do now adjourn. All those in favour say aye. All those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The House is now adjourned until 9:30 a.m. on Friday, 17th October 2025.